Alright, here's a video. It's been a while. I've been updating my printer, little printer farms. As you can see, I got a few bamboos in here. I've got a Voron up there and up there. I've got a bastardized SV06 down there, which basically is running all Voron hardware underneath it, all the electronics and everything, and it's in its own enclosure. And it's running Clipper, and as you can see, there's a stealth burner on it. I'm talking today about this particular printer, the Core One Plus that I just finished building. I got it last week. Took about 12 hours to assemble. I haven't owned a Prusa before, so I figured at this point I want one that's enclosed, and this is what I end up getting. I think I've been spoiled by all the bamboo equipment at this point, because I can just throw prints at those and there's just nothing really to do. Once you load your filament into the AMS units there's no loading or unloading really other than into the AMS. There's nothing to play around with on the printer other than telling it what color and what kind of spool it is for the slots. That's really all it really is, ultimately. And then through Bamboo Slicer, it does everything else as far as when you're sending a print. I keep forgetting now that I've built this printer that it's obviously not. There's not a lot of automation on this printer. It's probably more akin to the Voron than it is anything else. You have to manually feed the filament up the side through two filament sensors. One's on the side there in the orange that you can see right, the little orange tab there, and then of course in the print head. And then you have to set the filament on the printer itself, and hopefully it matches what's in the G code when you send your print from Prusa Slicer. And what I've run into, and I've been searching high and low, and I've been getting a lot of responses from my searches with everyone having kind of the same problem since a certain version of the firmware. Now, I'm on the latest version. I think it's 6.5.3 is which one I'm on. These were reports from back from 6.4, where a mismatch from the slicer to the printer will cause it to tell you that the filament in the G code doesn't match or is not compatible. And then it forces you to unload your filament and then reload it again. And it's every print. It doesn't matter if I select just the base PLA in this menu for the filament, or if I create my own custom one, or ABS or PETG. I've done all of them, and I've run into the same problem. Even though in Prusa Slicer I select like the generics, or I select a split, it doesn't really matter which one I select. It still says it's off, and that to me is not. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be a little more seamless. Now, as far as the printer's operation is concerned, it's been fine. I mean, I had one error. With the side filament, and that was due to the magnet in the swing arm not being flush enough. I fixed that, and then it went through all the calibrations and everything fine. The belt tensioning, I actually just did it manually by touch. I didn't. The tool to do it from the phone is very iffy. I did it by touch. Did a couple of test prints. Prints are fine. I didn't have any problem with that up until the point where I went to send my first print, and if it didn't come off the thumb drive, it wouldn't print if I sent it, and that I still haven't been able to figure out what it is. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I just thought that by now stuff like that would not be an issue. And maybe it's just me being too used to throwing a spool in, let it auto feed itself like it does, and then I make a selection here, and then everything just prints on these darn things. which is an unfortunate downfall, considering that it kind of taints my experience for anything but those printers at this point. I think that's the only phrase that I can think of. And what's funny is my Voron Trident doesn't do that. The SVO doesn't do it. My little mini up there, which is just up there right now because I didn't have a place to put it, that thing never does. They just print. They don't care what I physically loaded into them. And so I don't know if it's a firmware coding issue or if it's a slicer issue with Prusa Slicer. But something needs to be fixed with it because I've been seeing lots and lots of complaints about this. And I'm not sure what the fix is. I haven't been able to figure it out. I've even gone as far as to edit the presets to match exactly what it shows for filament in the Slicer G code, and it still errors out. I can't seem to resolve it. So, the printer's nice. I like the solid construction. It was easy to build. The instructions were good. There wasn't anything questioning. I did run into one issue where I ran out of screws for the the M3 by 8 RTs. I don't know. It was one set that I ran out of, and I don't understand how I ran out of them because I was very, very observant of the naming of the screws and which bags I took them from, but I ran out of a bunch. It didn't hurt me any because I have, from all the Voron builds that I've done in the past, I have drawers and drawers and drawers of screws. So I had plenty to resolve that, but it's a nice printer. I think it's nice. It's solid. It looks nice. It runs okay. I haven't really put any real big prints on it. I've done some benchies. I've had, of course, starting them and restarting them. Let's see, what do I got here? So, like for instance, this one here is from, let me look at the bottom. Yeah, this one is actually the very first print I did in PLA carbon fiber on the H2S over there, which I just got that one a week ago. First print, no issues. Cooling is really good. It's nice. The first print I did on the Prusa is this one, and it's pretty good, but you can see there's some cooling issues. And I think it's not doing, let me take a quick look. I don't think it's doing, first I thought maybe it was under extruding. I don't know if it's showing up in here, but I think it's just not doing a top layer. Then I fixed some of the temps, and I upped them a little bit, and it's a little bit better. I probably need to run the fan at 100%. This was 95%. And this one's a little bit better, but still you can kind of see I think it's just not doing a top layer to make it like pretty. But other than that, it's alright. It's nice. I just haven't done any big structural prints yet. So, but I'll put it through its paces. I'm just hoping that they'll fix whatever's going on with that firmware issue. If it's a firmware issue. I don't know if it's a firmware or if it's a slicer issue. Or if it's just me not knowing that I've missed something somewhere. And I'm just not too sure what. So, that's it. Just a little update on my 3D printing stuff. And that's it. If you like a video, put a like down below. Comment if you guys happen to know what's going on with this. And talk to you later. Bye.